Good afternoon, children. Welcome back to English Literature class. Today we are going to see The Merchant of Venice, Act 4 and Scene 1, the second part of it. In the last class we had seen the first part, and before we continue, let me quickly glance through the first part. What are the different things Duke says to convince Shylock? So here, I have put it across in a form of few questions. So let us answer the questions before we move on. What are the different things Duke says to convince Shylock? First of all, he tries to praise him. As if he is going to show some mercy at the end to surprise everyone and let Antonio live, but it doesn't work. Then he asks him how he expects mercy from God later on when he doesn't show any mercy in his life in earth. Okay, so that is bringing the life after death into scene. But still, Shylock doesn't agree to that. He tells that Antonio has already suffered enough losses at sea. He has already lost ships. He has paid his punishment. So why don't we just let him go? Again, Shylock doesn't agree to that. Okay. And next point we have to remember here is, how does Bassanio try to convince him? First of all, Bassanio tries to offer him double the amount. Instead of 3000 ducats, since he has money now given by Portia, he tries to offer him 6000 ducats, but that doesn't work. And he tells the difference between the hatred and not liking someone. He says that just because you do not like someone, you should not have as much as hatred as to take his life. Okay, again that doesn't work. Our next question, important point here is, why doesn't Shylock agree to drop out from the bond? He justifies that he deserves to go with the bond very lawfully because amount is not paid, time has expired, and Antonio has signed the agreement. So there is no way getting around it. So he agrees that it is just the revenge. He would let the snake, he cannot let the snake bite. He says that he has already let Antonio bite him once. He has taken all the pain because of Antonio. Now once again he cannot repeat the same mistake. That is the justification Shylock gives here. Next, another thing you have to remember, on what did Shylock take an oath of taking the bond? It is on the Holy Sabbath. We know that it is very holy for the Jew people. So he has sworn on the Holy Sabbath. Now the next point is, what examples does Antonio give to prove that even stopping the nature is easier than stopping Shylock? So first of all, he says, in a beach, you may just ask the waves not to raise to their usual height. They might at least listen to you, but not Shylock. He says, a wolf may answer the weeping mother of a dead lamb, Eve of the dead lamb, but wolf also might answer, but not Shylock. Okay. Now the next one, he says, even the pine trees may stop that ruffling noise they usually make, but not Shylock. Okay. So these are the examples Antonio tries to give to show that how stubborn Shylock is. Nobody will be able to change his mind. Now what opinion does Duke have about Shylock? In the very opening line of that scene itself, Duke says, I pity you, Antonio, because you have become an adversary, opponent to an inhuman wretch. He calls Shylock as inhuman wretch. He is incapable of any pity. He does not have any pity within him. He is such a stone-hearted person. In your heart, where you are supposed to have that warmth, that place in him is empty. Okay, it is void. So these are the exact terms Duke uses to explain how Shylock is. Okay, even in the exam, as much as possible, if you use these terms like inhuman wretch, okay, stony adversary, these are the terms used in the textbook. If you can use the same words in your answers also within a quotation mark or just underline it, it gives a different weightage to your answer. Rather than just summarizing your points into the regular English and writing it down, if you can put some of these words, it gives a very good answer. Okay, it increases the weightage of your answer. Anyway, with that we had stopped in the last class. Today we are going to continue from there. Okay, so we had stopped with the Shylock's question here. Okay, so here Duke has told How shalt thou hope for mercy, rending none? So when you are alive, when you are not showing any mercy or warmth to the people around you on this earth, how can you expect any mercy from God later on when once you die? In heaven, God may not show you any mercy. So that was Duke's point. For that Shylock says, what judgment shall I dread? Doing no wrong. I haven't done anything wrong, so why should I worry about any kind of a judgment? You have among you many purchased slaves, which like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish parts because you bought them. It is just like how you pay money and buy your animals like donkeys or your dogs or mules. You use that donkey to carry your luggage or dog to look after your house. So for different purpose you buy them as your slaves. You pay money and buy. Shall I say to you, let them be free and marry them to your heirs? Your heir means your next generation. Can anyone tell you that just let them, just because you have bought them, they are not your slaves, just let them free, let them marry your heir? Will you ever agree that? Why sweat they under burthens? So why to make them struggle, sweat under your burden of work? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and let their palates be seasoned with such wines. So you sleep in much more softer bed than theirs. You have much more comfort in life, and your palate, your plate is much more seasoned with better food than theirs. Why to have such partiality? You will answer, the slaves are ours. If I ask you, why do you show partiality towards them? You will say that they are my slaves. Okay. I have paid money. So do I answer you. So that is the same answer I am ready to give you. The pound of flesh which I demand of him is dearly bought. It is mine and I will have it. That 1 pound of flesh, I have paid money to that. So that is mine now. I am the owner of that, because 3 months ago I have paid 3000 ducats for that. Okay, the bond has expired, 3 months time is over. So I am the rightful owner of it. I have paid it and I have bought it. So if you deny me, fie upon your law. If you do not let me have that pound of flesh, your law is such a nonsense. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. So in the Venetian law, there will not be any value left. Okay, it becomes meaningless. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it? Therefore, I stand for the judgment, the truth. Okay, as per the law. You answer me, shall I have my law? Okay, Duke says, upon my power, I may dismiss this court, unless Bellario, a learned doctor, whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. He says, I have the power as a duke, as a judge, I have all the power to dismiss the case at all. Okay, we know that even in court, when the case is not relevant, not up to the mark, it is such a nonsense case, the judge has the power to dismiss the case altogether. So Duke is telling here, I have the power to just dismiss this case, but unless Bellario, there is a learned doctor. Doctor doesn't mean that surgeon or the doctor who gives medicine here, the highermost degree in law, okay, doctorate in law maybe. So that is what he is saying here, unless Bellario, a learned doctor, whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. Okay, already Duke has sent a messenger, a letter with him to give it to Bellario, the very well-known lawyer, to settle this case. Unless he comes here, I will dismiss this case altogether. Now Salario says, my lord here stays without a messenger, with letters from the doctor, new come from Padua. We already know that Bellario, Dr. Bellario lives in Padua. Okay. So Salario says, my lord is your highness, like how we call the kings. Okay, he is a duke, that's why my lord. Here stays without a messenger with letters from the doctor. So someone is standing here as a messenger near the door who has come from the doctor, came from Padua. Now Duke says, bring us the letter, call the messenger. Okay, then let him come inside, the messenger come inside and let us see the letter. And Bassanio says, good cheer Antonio, what man, courage yet. The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones and all. Ere thou shalt lose for me 1 drop of blood. Antonio, cheer up man. why are you losing that courage? Please have some courage. Cheer up, Antonio, because even before you lose one single drop of blood from your body, I am here to give all my flesh and blood and bone and everything possible to save you. So finally it is a time for Bassanio to repay to Antonio, because earlier Antonio was ready to give up his life for Bassanio. He has done everything possible and Bassanio was only at the taking end. So far he has taken all the advantage from Antonio and never returned any favor. Now this is for the first time Bassanio is coming up to help Antonio. So he says, even before you lose a single drop of blood, I will try my best to give up myself, my own life to save you. Antonio says, I am a tainted wether of the flock, meetest for death, the weakest kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground. So he says that I am the sick sheep in the flock. Tainted wether means I am the sick sheep. If you have a flock of sheep with around 40 sheep, okay, if one or two are sick, they will be going to the butcher first. So same way, even here, I am the tainted sheep here, whether here in the flock, meetest for death. So I am the one who deserve to die. The weakest kind of fruit drops earliest to the ground. From a tree, when the fruit is ripe, the weakest hanging fruit from the tree is going to fall into the ground first. So I am the person, I am the person to be taking that position. You cannot better be employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write mine epitaph. Okay, so the best thing you can do here is, Bassanio, please keep living to your fullest. You just got married. Have your life, enjoy your life, live to the fullest. That is the best gift you can give me, and write mine epitaph. Epitaph means on the gravestone, those last wordings as a respect to somebody after their death, what we write. Okay, so you can write that epitaph for me. That is what Antonio tells to Bassanio. Look at the picture, just a representational picture here. Antonio is tied into the chair, ready to take that pound of flesh. Look at that scale hanging to the right, in the right side. They are ready to measure the amount. And on the left there is a young lawyer. Okay, maybe that represents Portia here. Anyway, enter Nerissa dressed. It is a scene here. This is a scene taken from the movie Merchant of Venice. Anyway, enter Nerissa dressed like a lawyer's clerk. So now she is not Nerissa anymore. She is dressed in male's costume. So enters Nerissa dressed like a lawyer's clerk. Now Duke says, came you from Padua, from Bellario? Are you from Padua? Have you come with the word from Bellario? And Nerissa says, from both, my lord. Yes, I have come from Padua as well as sent by Bellario. Both are correct. And Bellario greets your grace. So he has conveyed his regards to you. So it is that way, and then she presents a letter to him. So supposedly here it is like not she presenting a letter, it is a male, okay, male clerk. So he is presenting a letter to him. Now Bassanio says, meanwhile, why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly? Why are you sharpening that knife so eagerly now? He is talking to Shylock. Okay, and look at them as he brings the letter and gives it to Duke. Meanwhile, Shylock is busy sharpening his knife. So Shylock says, to cut the forfeiture from that bankrupt there. He is not even hiding that fact. He is so straightforward. Directly he is telling that just to cut that pound of flesh from that bankrupt there, Antonio. That is why I am sharpening. And Gratiano says, not on thy soul, but on thy soul, harsh Jew, thou makest thy knife keen. It is not on that shoe's sole. Shoe's sole is S-O-L-E. Not on that you are sharpening knife. He is actually sharpening knife on that. So he says, it is not really like you are sharpening the knife on the soul, but on your own soul. That is mind and soul. What is there in your body, that soul you are sharpening your anger, your frustration, your hatred, harsh Jew. Thou makest thy knife keen. That is how you are making your knife so keen. But no metal can, no, not the hangman's axe, bear half the keenness of thy sharp envy. Can no prayers pierce thee? He says, but none of the metals in this world, not even a single metal in this world, not even the hangman's axe. Hangman, you might have come across that in that poetry what we have read, that soldier who comes after a year and he is about to be hung. Okay, so that picture. Okay, even the hangman's sharpest axe, that will be less sharp compared to the metal what you have, because of that sharp envy you have within you. Okay, your sharp envy, your grudge is much more sharp than any kind of a metal. Can no prayers pierce thee? None of these prayers can reach your heart. Shylock says, no, none that thou hast wit enough to make. No, none of that you are smart enough to convince me. So none of the prayers I am going to listen. So his words are very direct. Okay, merciless, stubborn and direct. Now Gratiano says, O be thou damned inexecrable dog, and for thy life let justice be accused. Thou almost makest me waver in my faith to hold opinion with Pythagoras that souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men. Thy currish spirit governed a wolf who, hanged for human slaughter, even from the gallows did his fell soul fleet, and whilst thou layest in thy unhallowed dam, infused itself in thee, for thy desires are wolfish, bloody, starved and ravenous. So he says that be thou damnest inexecrable dog. So you are like such a dog, you are such a disgusting dog, and killing you would be justice actually. Okay, if anyone takes your life, that is actually a justice. You almost make me forget that I am a Christian. You make me want to agree with that philosopher Pythagoras. Okay, we don't know what kind of Pythagoras theory it is, not the ones you study, but maybe a different theory what we had not known earlier. According to him, that animal souls are reincarnated in human bodies. Okay, so he says that according to Pythagoras, I am going to believe that it is animal soul that is come as a human through you, thy currish spirit. Okay, so he says that that harsh dog soul used to belong to a wolf that was killed for slaughtering humans. So it is like maybe at the time of slaughtering humans, a soul, that cruel wolf's soul has escaped from his body when he died, and that soul has passed out of his body and went straight into your mother's womb, unholy mother's womb. When she was lying, maybe into her womb, that soul had, cruel soul of that wolf had entered, and that is why your desires are wolfish. That is the product. Okay, you are the product of it. From her womb you came out as such a wolfish, bloody person. Okay, now Shylock says, till thou canst rail the seal from off my bond, thou but offendest thy lungs to speak so loud. Repair thy wit, good youth, or it will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for law. Again, Shylock is not affected from any of these kind of blames. So he says, unless your taunts can undo the signature on my contract. Okay, Antonio has already signed. The more you scream, if the signature disappears from there, it is of use. But unless that is not going to happen, why are you wasting your lungs by speaking so loud? Why are you screaming? Be quiet, boy, or you will lose your mind. I stand here with the law on my side, and nothing else can stop me. Now Duke says, this letter from Bellario doth commend a young and learned doctor to our court. Where is he? So far when who is this? Salarino, Gratiano and Shylock were conversing, Duke was meanwhile, he was reading the letter. So this letter from Bellario doth commend a young and learned doctor to our court. So this letter says, a well-educated doctor of law has come to our court. Where is he? And Nerissa says, he attendeth here hard by to know your answer, whether you will admit him. He is waiting here just outside. He is waiting to see whether you would admit him inside or not. And Duke says, with all my heart, some 3 or 4 of you go give him courteous conduct to this place. Some 3 or 4 of you please go and welcome him inside, because he has to be given so much of respect. Okay, he is being sent from Dr. Bellario, so he is supposed to get enough respect. That's why he sends 3 to 4 people to welcome him and bring him inside. Meantime, the court shall hear Bellario's letter. So he himself has read the letter. Now he is reading the entire letter to the court, not he, the clerk. Clerk is actually Nerissa here. So she reads the entire letter for the court, for everyone else to know. She says, "Your Grace shall understand that at the receipt of your letter, I am very sick. So as soon as you receive the letter, you should understand that at this moment I am very sick. Okay. But in the instant that your messenger came in loving visitation was with me a young doctor of Rome. His name is Balthazar. When I was very sick and your messenger came to me with that letter that you should come and take the case. So when the messenger came inside, that is when there was a young doctor. Doctor here means once again not the doctor who gives medicine but doctor of law. A young lawyer from Rome, he was with me. He was visiting me at the same time when your messenger came to me. His name is Balthazar. Okay, so you have to know that the male name of Portia now is Balthazar. Okay, so this young lawyer called Balthazar, he was with me. He is from Rome when your messenger came to me. I acquainted him with the cause in controversy between the Jew and Antonio the merchant. We turned over many books together. So I already briefed him, made him understand the case, the controversy between the Jew and Antonio, and we turned over many books together. We studied so many books together on behalf of this case. So together we made a note of it. We studied together, turned over many books. He is furnished with my opinion. So I am sending him on my behalf and he has all my opinion in him. Okay, which is bettered with his own learning. It is not just my valuable opinion. Along with that, he is also very smart enough. He has his own very good opinions to add on top of it. The greatness whereof I cannot enough commend comes with him at my importunity to fill up your Grace's request in my stead. So I am sending this most intelligent young lawyer on my behalf. In my absence, he is going to fill up your request. He is coming there instead of me. I beseech you, let his lack of years be no impediment to let him lack a reverend estimation. Looking at him how young he is, let it not make you feel bad, because for I knew so young a body with so old a head. He looks young, yes, very young body, but his head is very old. That means he is very well experienced, kind of he knows a lot, very intelligent. I leave him to your gracious acceptance, whose trial shall better publish his commandment. So he says, on my behalf he is coming here. You hear what the wise and educated Bellario writes here for you. So that is my wish. So you can see the picture here for representation. Nerissa has brought the letter. She is showing it to them, and Shylock already has knife on his one hand and looking at the letter, and behind the person who is sitting there is supposed to be the Duke. Okay, let us continue. Now Duke says, you hear the learned Bellario what he writes, and here I take it is the doctor come. So he says, I think I heard what Bellario said, what he wrote, I understood, and I think this is doctor, the one who is mentioned in the letter. I think he has come, Balthazar has come. And enters Portia dressed like a young, like a doctor of law. So Portia has dressed like a young lawyer, male lawyer, and she enters into the scene. And Duke says, give me your hand. Come you from Bellario? Give me your hand for shake. Okay, handshake. Have you come from Bellario? Come through Bellario, old Bellario. Portia says, I did, my lord. Yes. And Duke says, you are welcome. Take your place. Are you acquainted with the difference that holds this present question in the court? So are you aware of all the issues here? Okay. Have you understood familiar with the case now? Then Portia says, I am informed thoroughly of the cause. So every time there is a word case, they use it here as cause. Okay. She says, I am thoroughly informed about the case, which is the merchant here and which is the Jew. So I know the case very well. Among these people, who is the Jew victim, the accusing person, Jew, and who is the merchant? And Duke says, Antonio and old Shylock both stand forth. So both of them are made to stand. Portia says, is your name Shylock? And Shylock says, Shylock is my name. Portia, of a strange nature is the suit you follow, yet in such rule that the Venetian law cannot impugn you as you do proceed, do stand within his danger, do you not? So Portia is telling that, yes, I understand that your case is of a very strange nature. Okay, it is a very unusual kind of a case. Though the Venetian law cannot stop you from proceeding, then she turns to Antonio and says, he has a claim on you. Am I right? Is it correct? Antonio says, aye, so he says. Okay, now look at the picture. This is supposed to be the young lawyer Portia and her clerk Nerissa. Okay, now Portia says, do you confess the bond? Do you agree that you have signed the bond? Antonio says, I do. Portia, then must the Jew be merciful? Then even her opinion is that way. She says, then Jew should show some mercy. Shylock says, on what compulsion must I? Tell me that. Why should I ever show the mercy? You tell me that. Okay. Now anyway, with that we are going to stop today's class. We will continue in part 3, the remaining part of this particular scene. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you, students.